auditions. Yeah.
We're gonna get on that. All right, welcome everybody. Thank you for coming and tuning in to the Four River Experiment. Today, my buddy Kyle's here. Kyle Gregory, author, director, actor, all that fun stuff. Kyle, you can finish real quick. Just let them know before we get into this who you are. Roll call.
As Johnny just said, actor, writer, now a producer, director, first-time director, all around just artist.
Yeah, I got that right here. This is little Nimbly Wimbly here.
Children's author too.
This is Kyle's book, Nimbly Wimbly. I'd ask you to sign it, but you already did that for me.
Yeah, that's a funny one of how that one came about.
Yeah, man, that book release was fun. It was cool getting everybody over there, seeing your mom again, seeing everybody again. That was cool.
My mom's the reason that book came out.
It's like this funny story. This actually kind of like encouraged me to do. I remember like reaching out to you. Remember that?
Yeah.
Reached out to you. I wanted to do it. And I wanted to do one on bullying. I ended up so right away you were like, oh, you need to look for an illustrator. You gave me all like really good advice like you always do. And I contacted my friend Sydney Medeiros. She's a great like illustrator, and it ended up like not getting as much because I didn't have the funds to like get a children's book going or even the creativity to write one like you did. But luckily somebody ended up seeing the talent she had too, and she ended up illustrating the book.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, I'll put a nice little picture on here for her. But yeah, she ended up writing a little children's book too. She has like 2 kids, I believe.
Yeah,
good for her. But it's like it was cool to know that I saw that in her, and then somebody else ended up seeing it in her. So I'm happy that it sucks that ours fell apart, but it's great that she ended up putting one out. But now, other than the children's book, you gonna write another one? You gotta put 2, right?
Yeah. We have. So I've actually been talking to the illustrator who ended up moving to Florida. So kind of when he moved, he was doing his own projects, stuff like that. But we do have a sequel. I've written the story. I gotta condense it a little bit, but it's called Nimbly Wimbly and the Seriously Cirrus Cloud.
That sounds so children book.
And of course, in typical Nimbly fashion, it's gonna be about how Cirrus clouds and Nimbus clouds are not alike, and they hate each other for reasons, and then they get to know each other and realize they're still clouds.
I wish I could make that work, because I'm sitting there like, all right, bullying, perfect. Blank page, nothing. I can't think of anything. It's like you want to touch up on, you want to teach kids that like right from wrong and stuff like that, and bad days and good days are coming and all that noise. But I'm just not that creative to write stuff like that.
Yeah, thankfully,
I'm also a terrible rapper. I've never been able to like freestyle rap.
Yeah, that's something me and my roommate had. We had a little booth in my when we lived in college together. We had on the 3rd floor. There was a bedroom here and a bedroom here, and we put 3 mattresses together with a blanket right over it, and we built a little makeshift. He was more into rapping than I was. I just did it to have fun. I'm not that good.
Well, this is in Salem?
Yeah, this one's in Salem. Yeah.
Man, what was the roommate like? Was he another
Yeah,
author too?
he's actually helping me co-produce Blood Brothers right now.
Yeah, Blood Brothers. Everybody is a good movie that Kyle has created. You could tell him a little more about it.
Yeah, so Blood Brothers is a film that I'm working on right now. Actually shooting for a week in the city, August 12th to August 15th. It's a Fall River story, but it's actually becoming a larger story now. Story about addiction and friendship and family and relationships and everything that goes in between all that. It's a psychological thriller.
I was actually Shane now. He actually wants to come through and say what's up and see how you're doing. Shout out to Shane.
Yeah, I just told him to bring a skateboard. I got mine in my trunk.
Yeah, he told me you reached out to him. Shane's a really good guy, man. Yeah. I think he definitely give you some ideas. He's a good kid. Everybody in Fall River can give you ideas. When it comes to that subject, you know what I mean?
It's crazy how many people actually sent me a message that I didn't know.
Yeah,
that
of course.
I didn't know, you know what I mean? Saying thanks for doing something like this, talking about it. And a lot of people, I had a lot of older people who were my dad's friends.
As much as I'm not a fan of Mike Herring, I think that's one of the cool things about Chris Herring.
Yeah.
That, you know what I mean? He reached out to so many people. That's just such an important thing. You really do. You gotta let people know that there's not you know what I mean? There's a way out, not just a way out, but there's options, there's help. People are out there and. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, and that's funny because I don't want to give spoilers away. I'm trying. It's so hard to talk about it without giving away spoilers and
Easter
stuff
eggs?
like that.
Give us some Easter eggs to look forward to if you want.
So a part of it was me trying to think of how can I tell a story about how horrible this is, but also at the same time showing that it is possible and stuff like that. And another thing that I highlight is the fact that we start with 2 kids getting high in a little makeshift fort when they're 12 years old. And that's a lot of the times that's when drugs are in. I mean, I started smoking pot when I was 11, so it's tough because at 11 years old, by the time you're 13, 14, you're not processing what's going on. You're just kind of doing it. You keep falling into it more. And
I was a real late bloomer when it came to like smoking and stuff like that. I wish I did smoke when I was younger. Like I know I touched upon this with Nate, but like if I think it would have been a little bit more calm. You remember me as a child? I was a pretty wild child. I probably would have never called a bomb threat. But I would have been
I
like,
can't believe that was.
I probably would have just smoked the blunt and been like, whatever, fuck the rest of the team.
Really
I'm gonna be an MMA whiz anyway. You know what I mean? I don't need the rest of the team. And I probably would have just smoked and been fine. But instead I didn't, and I made bad decisions. So, but like it's great to see all the positive like people are seeing in marijuana. But yeah, I was a late bloomer, man. I didn't start smoking until I was pretty much got out of juvie. Like I tried it, and I mean I think it's because I was lucky enough to have older brothers who went through like the hard times and the hard drugs, and they were pretty much the strictest best friend brothers you could have, like where they're like pretty much like telling you the bad and like, yo, you can never do this. This is what's gonna happen to you. Not only can you never do this, and I'm gonna sit here and like talk to you and lecture you about how you should never do this, but if you ever do it, I'm gonna fuck you up. Like you know what I mean? So it's like, all right, I got.
I'm afraid of your brothers too, so I can see why you would say, all right, I'll take a break.
Like, yeah, and and nothing against like anybody who has gone through that. Like I mean, it sucks, but like I that's one thing I've always like, because I have friends that have gone through it, and that's one of the things I always tell people. Like, man, I'm so lucky to have older brothers that kind of guided me away from that type of stuff. I'm very lucky, very grateful for them, and sometimes I wish other people had older brothers. That's what,
again, I didn't have a first male role model kind of until Coach Matt my sophomore year of high school. That was like the first male positive influence. I was there when Coach Mack first came around. Oh, yeah. Did you have him as a coach?
For like a year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
so he was probably trying, figuring out who he was as a coach, stuff like that.
I believe he was teaching us in cuss too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, before we went to
7th,
Durfee.
8th grade when you used to roll on the mats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Coach Match, that's really important. Obviously, the older influence. Obviously, got to say, but go ahead, Coach Match.
No. So Coach Mack was like the first person I remember. He always used to pull us aside. He was good with talking to kids and saying like, equating if you lose in a wrestling match, it's just like losing in life. You're gonna end up on your back for the rest of your life, and you don't really want that, do you? And it really didn't hit until I lost. And man, did I get beat up my sophomore year.
Those are the biggest learning things. It's the best way to learn is losing and failing. Like, it really is.
Yeah.
Where was I going? Where was I going with this whole like role model thing? I had Val Rocha.
Val's great. I see him all the time at the King Phillips Yacht Club.
Yeah, he's probably like my biggest role model as a kid. He was a perfect person to like look up to. He did his little smoking of weed like when we were in it, but he was the greatest person to look out over us. He wanted to make sure we didn't get in trouble, and he just made sure my discipline was right and stuff like that. It is very important. Another good experience of just trying to talk to kids and being good with kids. Like I was good with that with coaching Falcons. I was a terrible coach. I couldn't really teach kids fundamentals. Shout out to Tyrone for holding it down, Tyrone Young, man. And not only that, but his kid was actually in that new Joyner Lucas video that just dropped a couple days ago. Yeah. So you guys look for little TJ. You know what I mean? He's in the Joyner Lucas video. But luckily Tyrone held it down for pretty much the entire fucking season, because all I was good at doing was, and I probably feel like that was the whole reason I was there, was to talk to the kids and motivate the kids. I had a great relationship with them.
But that's needed. You need someone who teaches you fundamentals, and you need someone who teaches you how to do the drive, how to commit, how to keep moving, how to.
I was great at talking with the parents, to the parents and stuff like that. Like that was pretty much my ordeal, was talk to the parents and have fun with the kids, because all I could really do is, pretty much teach them how to get up. You know what I mean? I didn't play organized football. We played at Kennedy and Pulaski. So the only thing I could really teach them was that right there. Just be tough, be tough. Get up. That's the Fall River way.
That's the motto. That's keep moving forward.
Of course.
Yeah. No, it's gotten me. I mean, that motto's gotten me to where I am.
Now, you're filming you're filming in Fall River?
Yeah, everything is actually taking place in Fall River.
Oh, that is so cool, man.
It's funny. I was actually originally supposed to film in California.
Take that, Charlie Hunnam. We got a new, real hometown movie star.
Yeah, Charlie Hunnam. We were just talking about that yesterday, about how all the fangirls were going crazy when he was in the city.
Yeah, my sisters were right. My sisters were part of that fangirl club. And I think my brother Andrew's a part of that fangirl club.
So we're filming Oak Grove Cemetery. We're filming on the Quikasham Trail. And then Chris Anteo from Gnome Surf, so he's actually allowing us to film in his house.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. I reached out and I was just like, hey, I know you might know someone who has a teenager bedroom. We kind of need a house where it's things we can, cover, dress, make it look like it's this room and that room. And he sent me a bunch of pictures of his house, and I was just like, dude, your house is perfect.
Is this like gonna be more of like a creative thing, or is this gonna be like something that like pretty much like you've gone through, like real stories, or is it something that you're gonna be creating yourself?
No. So it's inspired by Fall
Because
River,
that's the word I'm looking
by
for.
similar events and stuff like that. But I mean, the concept and everything I came up with myself.
Awesome.
All the none of the characters are actual people that I know. I mean, but obviously when you're creating characters, you can't help but have certain aspects of elements of different person in your mind.
I would imagine they're all gonna go hang out with a couple Fall River people and get some stories and ideas.
And from people reaching out and stuff like that,
Yeah,
I've gotten more
yeah.
stories and whatnot. But the biggest thing that I was going for is because a lot of people are still in denial that it's not happening to affluent people or people who have some money, or if they think it's still just like a poor thing, and it's not at all.
I always knew you were destined for something really cool. You're always going to be doing something cool like this. But I didn't know you were like into acting. Were you into acting when we were kids?
No, I
But that's one thing I was just actually talking upon the other day with my buddy, that like, man, a lot of like some of the best actors, like they knew they wanted to do it when they were so young, and it's like weird, like because like I took theater when I was in Durfee and I loved it. It was an easy A. Like
I was just gonna tell you the story about how that came to how I started taking acting.
I think I would be a good actor, but I too nerve-wracking. Like this is nerve-wracking.
Yeah,
like
no,
this
it
is like
is.
like knowing that people are gonna watch this and stuff like that. It gets very nerve. I'm like looking at my shirts, like, is this wrinkled? Is this wrinkled? Did I look okay? Did I shave? But it gets very nervous. Yeah, I try to hide behind the mic so I can talk to you like this.
No, I was.
You're really comfortable though, right, behind the camera.
Yeah,
and putting your work out there too.
It's actually kind of, even this is a little nerve-wracking for me, just being present, just listening. You know what I mean? I'm so used to transforming into a character, so I don't have to worry about like, how is this working or how am I sounding? When I first moved to Salem, man, everyone racked on me for my Fall River accent, so I kind of lost it a little bit, because it's true. I mean, as an actor, if I want to play certain roles, I have no choice but to talk differently. I have no choice but to sound different.
But wouldn't some isn't there like movies and like
but
like
then
people
you
looking
get
for like
typecast, and I don't want.
Yeah,
I'm honestly someone who considers myself a very versatile. I will try to play the extremes of all. I don't want to just be myself on camera. I want to be able to transform.
So your last 3 roles, like, what were you?
So one was a mechanic.
Okay.
The other one was an Uber driver with telekinesis.
Already 2 way different like roles.
Yeah, and then the one right before that, what was that? I think it was a short horror where I kind of played myself. It was like a jockish version of myself. But the Uber driver with the telekinesis and the mechanic, I mean, definitely not me. I've never worked on a car in my life, and I don't have telekinesis.
I got 2 characters, Portuguese and Fall River. Like, that's it. That's my range.
Yeah.
Doesn't go really too far. So I think I have a decent. No, I don't have a good British accent at all. I can't play a British guy.
No, accents are tough.
No, I can play a good Mexican. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, I've watched enough Mexican gangster movies to know how to play it.
And
I kind of look like I could also, if I grew my beard out, probably play somebody in like Al Qaeda or something, like Middle Eastern. I'm sorry.
Middle Eastern film.
So if you ever doing like a remake of a Boston Bombing, look for me. Actually, no, those guys were clean cut.
They were clean cut. Yeah, they were. They weren't your typical looking. They were next door kind of. Yeah.
Right, UMass, man. Those guys, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, I think Dave crossed paths with one of them at a party a couple times.
Real quick, with Salem, I know. Oh wow. Jeez, Dave. Shout out to Dave Hang and all the boys. Again, we talked about it before. Like, man, like I said, your boys definitely remind me of me and my crew, man. Shout out to John Pereira, which is, we would say, your Costa, and Dave, which is like my Leo over there. Like, this is great. And Pudge. Shout out to Pudge, man. I haven't talked to him in a while, but he's always on Facebook. Always contact him.
I'm mad at Pudge, man. He bailed on me this weekend.
Oh, Pudge.
Bitch.
But my buddies, like, I wouldn't say they bail, but like I said, I was telling you, it's tough to get everybody together these days, man. I was so happy to get all the boys together, like last week for my birthday. We ran amok and just got
tough, man.
Yeah. But it's great, makes them moments awesome. So, Dave and everybody, hit up Kyle. You know what I mean? Even though he's over here busy, he would love a drink with you guys.
Yeah, come on. But no, I was going to tell you the story that's the easy A of how I got into acting.
Yeah,
I always tell Eric Pont. Shout out to Eric Pont.
He's doing his rapping thing right now.
Yeah.
With the Bemo record. Wow. I'm not even going to attempt that because I'm going to get slaughtered by Portuguese people. Go ahead.
And we were sitting there in the cafeteria. It was my junior year. I had to take an easy elective. And Eric and a couple other people were on the side of me. And obviously they were upperclassmen. And I was like, hey, you know, in a class, I just need an easy A. Do you know what to take? He goes,
Yeah.
take acting, man.
Yeah.
He goes, the teacher doesn't care. He's going to just pass you and stuff like that. I was like, perfect.
Yeah, Durfee was always one of those just show up and they'll pass
But
you
the thing
type
was,
of thing. But
is
he'll
that
give you an A.
That teacher retired that summer.
I wish I wanted to know. It wasn't Chatham.
I don't remember his name, but
It wasn't the wood because it was like two. There was one woodworking guy, I believe, that did theater too, and then there was one guy who did just theater, and that was my teacher, and he was awesome. And I actually had him with Chad Nobles and Manny Rigo, who's gonna be coming. He's gonna be coming by soon. He just hit me up and says he wants to come through. But that he was in my theater class, and I'm trying to think of who else was in there. Rachel Zimmerman, which I was actually just talking about Jenna last week on the last episode of the podcast. Yeah, her girlfriend Rachel was in my theater class. It was a fun and easy class. We had great improv and I realized how hard it is, and I found out how much like actors and like directors and even like the guilds, the Screen Actor Guilds hate like lazy writing when you come up with this crazy big story and you have this great thing and then at the end you're just like it was all a dream. Like they hate that stuff, and then I like he checked me right in the middle, like what I'm trying to say, like that was a lesson right there. It's an easy way out, and now ever since then I've always been like that over the last 10 years. I've been telling people like I hate when fucking things end like that, like it was just a dream, it was virtual reality.
It's just been done so many times.
Yeah, it's just like don't and I acted like I had acting class, I went to theater, so I know. We don't like that.
No. But that teacher retired, so I did not have that teacher for acting class.
Oh.
I had Miss Zima. And she came in,
know.
she was ready to teach. She was new to Durfee. She had to prove that she was a great teacher, which she was. Obviously, here I am, 13 years later, still going strong.
Results are everything.
I had it with Thomas Kilby.
Now,
Thomas Kilby was in class with me.
Was Salem always your choice for was there did they have like a theater program that you
and
that's why you chose
it was actually
them?
a pretty good theater program. No, I actually auditioned for Cal Arts. I didn't get in. I auditioned for the University of Arizona, got in, and then I also got into Salem State. But the year that I was supposed to go to grad school, my niece was being born, and I kind of didn't want to move away for that.
Yeah, shout out to Tara. You got a great uncle brother over here.
It was tough. I mean, and it still is tough. Like I miss so many things because I'm always so busy and stuff like that. But like the last thing I wanted to do was move away when my niece is being born, because once you go across country, who knows when
I feel the same way,
where that would have led and stuff like that. So I was like, Salem's still a middle ground, still close enough, and it was more affordable too.
How was it worth it?
Yeah,
Meet good people?
Salem State was great because you had professors who were just as good as any professor you can find, but because it's such a small school, if you're the kind of student like me, you go and they'll give you that extra help. You go to their office, they'll talk to you. You go to a rehearsal, you can sit in. You want to talk about something, so it was, I was always the kind of student that even when I wasn't called for a rehearsal, I would sometimes go in the back of the theater and just watch because I'm learning. That's what I'm paying you.
What are your practices? Like, how do you get into character? Like James Franco used to work at McDonald's and he used to use accents on the drive-thru and stuff like that. Do you do something like that?
Similar. I don't go too method. I know some people drop into extreme methods, but I will, for instance, when I was in the Grapes of Wrath, the only thing I listened to was country music. I started wearing plaid clothing. Every once in a while I would put on the accent just to, because it is tough when I got closer and stuff like that. But I try not to do too crazy things. But for the Get Out of the Car, for instance, I played an Uber driver who had telekinesis, who's had a bad night, and it was anger.
If you ever direct a movie with Mexicans, I will study up on the Mexican gangster movies, Blood In, Blood Out, and all that stuff. I will that's what I do. I watch all those things and wear the flannel. If you ever just
up top.
if you gangster movies work, man.
They do.
I would love to see another Warriors, not so much a remake of Warriors because that's a classic.
Remake that, but I don't know if that was actually coming.
Something like that would be really cool.
Oh, for sure.
Really
That's a tough
cool.
one to. So the first time I remember when I was maybe 12, 13 years old. It was me, Chris, and a bunch of other people. I think Brian Viveris was with us, and we were crossing from Pulaski, and we were going, I think, actually down to Kennedy Park, and we were crossing through a yard, and some big dude gets off his stairs because here comes 5 people crossing through his yard, and he looks at us, he goes, "Oh, Warriors." And he started doing the come out to play, and we all thought he was nuts. Yeah. We were just like, what the hell is wrong with that guy? And then sure enough, 3 years later, I watched the Warriors for the first time, and I was like, wait a second, that's what that guy was doing, because I remember he was specifically with his, and it stuck with me.
Again, I was because of my brothers, I was lucky enough to watch that when I was young. I didn't really get it like that. I got to rewatch it when I was older and stuff. Oh man, where was I going with the whole Warriors thing? Oh, it's such a great thing I was gonna say. Oh yeah, ladies and gentlemen, even though Kyle is an actor and amongst other things, don't let this pretty face fool you. This kid's a badass. Because the second you brought up Chris, and it's like, yes, this guy used to walk around with some of the toughest motherfuckers around.
Dudes.
And we definitely got to touch up on that, man. Growing up, man, that was one thing I'll never forget because I know I'm pretty sure we had biology or chemistry. I remember, like, did you have that with your sister? Because I had biology with your sister, and I could have sworn I found out you guys were brother and sister in class. So that was the first time I actually really met you, was in biology class. And then I was so blown away because I think we were at, like, San Cristo Feast, and I see the boys, Augie, Chris, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, Tyler, Scuba, like, you know what I mean? I see all the boys, and then Kyle Gregory's with them. It's like, Kyle from Henry Lord? Like,
yeah, well, because I had class with Chris.
Yeah, he's just a really cool kid, man.
One of the best guys, yeah. Oh, for
so
sure,
it doesn't surprise me that you guys were close like that.
Oh, for sure, man.
Because he didn't judge. Like he liked good people, like solid people.
Exactly, solid people, and he was as solid as they come.
Yes, solid Chris. We still call him that to this day.
Right. Yeah. So from being in 6th and 7th grade, where we got real close and stuff like that, we actually caused too much trouble together, though. And for 8th grade, I got kicked out of my class, sent to a different house.
Don't let the face fool you, man. He's a tough guy. He got
kicked out. He also got sent to the different house, but I mean that was just terrible because now you just put 2 kids in different classes and you kind of spread it.
Yeah, pretty much. We're gonna recruit. That's what they blood in, blood out, man. They separate the Mexicans and then they go and start Mexican gangs in Texas and in Northern Cal. It's like don't split people up like that. Just let them do their thing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we
let it be organic.
Augie I still talk to all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I work for Joe. I work at Tonic.
That's so okay.
Yeah, I love it. And Augie comes by, and Elias is always there. Like every time I work, Elias is there buying drinks for everybody. He's the man. Yeah. Lucy's the one that trained me. You know what I mean? Man, Augie is probably one of my first friends. Like, you know what I mean?
I've been friends with Augie since I was pretty much 7, 8 years old. Because I lived on 4th Street, and he lived on Rodman, but he was always hanging around like 5th Street, like in those little projects together.
I was so like amazed by him because we had like summer school when we were like in 8, 9 years old. Like we were really, really young. We had summer school at Talbot, and this is when like the Power Ranger movie came out, and then Augie like ran up Talbot wall and did a backflip like off it, and I'm like, this kid is a Power Ranger. And I'm just like, man, if he just keeps doing this thing, he's gonna be a Power Ranger someday. Obviously, he was only 8, so
I tell him all the time, and he knows it. I'm always on his ass.
Great basketball player too.
I'm always telling, dude, the first time we ever played football, man, that guy was catching one-handed balls behind his.
Yeah, the whole family's talented. Yeah, the whole family.
We went to the batting cages because we were hitting the ball and stuff like that, and then before we left, I was like, I bet you I'll pitch fast. I used to pitch when I was younger. I couldn't pitch that fast at all, but I thought I could pitch faster than Augie, who's never really thrown a baseball. Guy pitched 87 miles an hour first time. Buster, I remember Buster was sitting there. That was the time he was working there, and he literally looked at him and he was just like.
Buster actually came by my house not too long
really?
ago. Yeah, with Matt Desai. Because they're doing good right now. He came by to say what's up. Shout out to Buster and Matt, man. You guys keep doing your thing, man.
Yeah, and he looked at him and he was just like, you ever throw a baseball? And I was like, no, that was the first time. But he's just got those genetics, man. What's up, pup?
Lotus, get down.
It's okay.
Look, get down.
Come on.
Just push it out. It'll be fine. One of the things, too, man, like, you were a fighter. You weren't, like, you weren't just a watcher.
Yeah, no.
You didn't sit in the sidelines, man. You got your hands dirty. We don't have to really get into it like that, but you definitely.
It's as I got older.
Weren't scared to punch back.
Scared, man.
Yeah, it did get bad when we started getting older.
As I got older, yeah, and I think it was also wrestling. When I
great
I
discipline.
Thought, like most Fall River kids, we think we're so tough and everything, and then there comes a kid from Cohasset High School who pins me in like 10 seconds, and I'm like, whoa, maybe I'm not as tough as I thought I was.
Yeah, that was one thing that I took away from that too, was like these like these skateboarders and these like the bilingual Portuguese kids were like just like ankle picking me, like, you know what I mean, and I'm getting taken down by like JV. That's what we call it now in the MMA world. Like, that's a JV fucking takedown. And now I'm like, when I hear it, I'm like I have instant flashbacks of like high school, and I'm like, oh my god, like that was me. Like I got ankle picked all day. Like, you know what I mean? I was so bad at sprawling. I was so, but obviously that's what wrestling and MMA teaches you. You know what I mean? I got really good at sprawling, and I think I'm pretty skilled. I'm not the greatest wrestler. I'm not the greatest jiu-jitsu. I'm not the greatest anything, but I think I'm good at like every style. You
have the skill set, and you trust that you can sprawl. You can do all the things.
I trust my trainers. Like that was the big thing. I trust what Ben taught me. I trust what Don Bamble taught me, and Val taught me, and Tim Gillette taught me. I trust everything they taught me. Like I believe it all works.
No,
and if you don't believe in like what you're learning, then you you're in the wrong
Yeah, you're in the wrong
place.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, but that's, as I got older and all that stuff started happening, and then obviously I saw some crazy things. I'm not gonna go into details and stuff like that, but
We don't want to get people in trouble.
yeah, no, I would never do that. So I was just like, whoa, this is intense, and of course, just having a mom who's like, so obviously she's tough and nuts, as you know, but she's nothing but like nurturing and love and stuff like that. So it was, I would come home and she would always just talk to me, and you know what I mean? So I had it so soft. I always tell Augie, I was like, if I ever write a memoir, it's going to be called Memoirs of a Wannabe Tough Guy. Because it's just me.
You weren't a wannabe. You were a tough kid. I mean, you weren't a dangerous kid, and that's the thing. When things got dangerous, it's like that was not like the life you were about. You were down to like, defend yourself. You were down to like, be solid to your friends.
Yeah.
You were down to be loyal, but anything that was unnecessary and dangerous just wasn't. That was I'm no different than that. Like, I wasn't into it either. Like, I was never one of those guys who carried a knife, baton, because that was when it really got, like, nobody was really carrying guns at that point, but everybody was carrying knives and batons and stuff like that. I never felt the need to carry any of those things. I never hit anybody with anything like that, but I've seen people get hit with those, and I've seen people get like stabbed. It's just like, all right, that's gonna be me if you know what I mean, because they're gonna run out of people to fucking stab and hit with batons.
No, I remember one time we were coming home from a Kennedy Park feast. There was a bunch of us on one side of the road. There was a bunch of kids on the other side of the road. We all like picked up sticks and stuff. There was like some metal poles and whatnot. And we were walking to Pulaski Park and stuff
anything
like
to
that.
get your hands on. We were just kids, ready to put damage on. It's like dumb kids, like, you know what I mean, with like decent guidance, but probably just needed a better pat on the back, better little push. But, like, shout out to those days, man, because those days definitely molded me into the... Because it was one of those things where it's like, man, I don't need to prove anything anymore. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? I don't need to talk shit anymore. I don't need... Like, I got my respect from the people that I needed to get it from, I guess, if you could say that. Like, I don't... There's not a punk out there that I feel like I need to prove anything to. Is what I'm trying to say. So I'm glad those days are over. Like, and... Hopefully anybody that's still in the lifestyle, you need to get out of that, man. There's nothing really, like, left. Like, there's nothing involved.
No, I mean, and that's why it's at this point now, it's just like, I want to see you do the best you can do. Like,
what you could do is be like my buddy Kyle and compile that into a little story, write it, pass it on to a producer, you know what I mean, and see what happens.
The funny thing is, in my field with this political correctness and stuff like that, I get a lot of people who question my writing and stuff like that because I'm white. And they think that a lot of white guys, what are you writing?
The Portuguese,
you
like,
can't write that. You don't know about that. I'm like, if you only knew.
You'd be surprised, like, Fall River people, like, and like, Portuguese people, we were probably more gangster than any, like, movie that I seen when I would watch movies, like, you know what I mean, like shout out to Green Street Hooligans in the movie that hold it down for the white guys. But like, like that is a stereotypical thing. I would believe outside of Fall River, New Bedford, Brockton, and whatnot, not like the South Coast, that they don't look at like Portuguese guys like they are tough. But like we grew up in the projects too. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I grew up at Barnaby and Heritage Heights. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can say that for a lot of people. Like, and there was 8 of us in one little project. You know what I'm trying to say? So we grew up just probably just like, and it is a stereotypical, like, kind of like reverse racism kind of thing. But that's just life. That's if like the old Johnny would just be like, you don't know what you fucking talk about. Like, I'm tougher than you. I'm more gangster than you, and go through it. But now it's just like, I'd rather just talk to people and let them know about me. Like, well, you'd be surprised I grew up in poverty too.
That's what I'd rather have ask people. Why did you write that? You know what I mean? Like, why? What's the motivation behind that? What did you do that for? Where's that inspiration from? And then I'll let you know. I'm not gonna just go. I'm not an open book like that. I've never been.
Do you have any favorite writers?
Playwright Stephen Ellie Gurgis.
And he does like Broadway, like, kind of theater.
He's a big theater guy.
Real quick, is that before you get into it, is that like what you're aiming for? Is like theater or like
transitioning completely to film?
So you want to go straight to all right, cool.
I'm kind of as much as I love theater, and I think it's always going to inspire me. And I'll probably I'm in a show in the fall in Boston.
I like them both. Like, I love watching theaters, like, shows.
The theater is hard because it's just a lot of commitment. So like the show, I start rehearsing the beginning of September. We don't open until November, so that's a 3-month commitment. That's a lot of commitment. It's tough to commit to a 3-month process because during that process, it's hard to book other things. And I'm always trying to do something else, especially with my writing and stuff like that. So I know it's going to take time.
And you like need people to be available and all that. At the same time.
Yeah. But yeah, Stephen Ellie Gurgis. Do you know it was a Netflix series. He actually, since he was a playwright, you could tell that it was actually, it was about like the breakdancers and stuff like that. Damn, I always forget the name of it too. It was pretty recent. It only had 2 seasons.
Man, I can't touch up on that one.
Yeah, if I remember the name, I'll let you know. But
How about directors or like you know what I mean, you have any like good filmmakers? Like I like seeing the progress, like the evolution of like Jonah Hill and like Jon Favreau. Like like you know it's crazy to
Yeah,
think like you know
yeah.
what I mean I used to love those guys as comedians and I had no idea they had a talented like director.
Jonah Hill, man, that guy's coming out of he came out of
Have
nowhere
you-
with all
Have
these
you ever watched
series.
mid-90s?
Yeah, I actually just watched
What
that
a
maybe
good
last
one,
month,
man.
the skateboarding one.
Yeah, loved it.
Raw.
Absolutely loved it. I haven't seen it since it came out, but what is it? Sunburn. That's what they call them, Sunburn.
Yeah, no, that one I like that one because I mean the language was true to the time.
Yeah, it was good.
Everything about it was just raw. The character's journey and stuff
The
like
kids
that.
were great. Yeah, the kids were
The kids were
great.
great. When you have a cast like that, I mean, it just clicks. Those kids were great together. No, my favorite storyteller, Darren Aronofsky. He did Requiem for a Dream.
Man, you're getting deep into that. So like I'm sitting there, like I like Rob Little from Twilight Zone, like like you know what I mean. I say obviously you know Conan's work on The Simpsons, like you know what I mean. Like I obviously when Conan O'Brien left The Simpsons, I feel like that's when The Simpsons went downhill. I'm really big into Bill Hader. Like
Okay.
I love Bill
Yeah.
Hader. I think he's one of the most genius people right now. Oh man. Who else can I think of right now? Obviously, anybody that writes for Saturday Night Live,
Yeah.
huge. Like I love John Mulaney. Like you know what I mean. I can go on and on. I mean I can't go on and on, but
Yeah.
because I'm just having like a big brain fart. But like, yeah, love those guys. Pretty much the Saturday Night Live writers, like the guys that come out of
which is comedy, and I'm on the for some reason I've always been drawn to drama. I barely ever watch comedy.
So like
My
is
girlfriend's
it
trying to get me to watch The Office for the longest time now. She's yelling at me to watch it, and I've seen a few episodes now. And because I actually have a pilot that I want to write that takes place a comedy that takes place in a gym, and so I was just like, well, it's a very similar structure and stuff like that. So I started watching.
John Krasinski is he's a great writer and director. Like
yeah,
you know what I mean.
watched
Like
this movie that he directed,
Yeah.
that scary one.
you got Steve Carell is Oscar nominated. He has range like a mofo. Like you know what I mean. You can appreciate The Office. Of course they
Yeah.
have their you know what I mean like. They're B-level actors, I guess, if you would, but they're still great. Yeah,
No,
like
I'm
Oscar's
actually
great.
starting
Like,
to
everything's
take
great.
to it now. I'm like, all right, this is actually pretty. This is
John
actually
Krasinski
funny.
is perfect. Like
Yep.
he's perfect. You know, Schumer, Dwight Schumer. I forget what's his real name. He's a funny guy
I don't know,
too.
he's just funny
He's
too.
perfect. Yeah,
he
like
was great for that role.
and again, like some of the best, like in my opinion, anyway. Not my opinion, but my favorite anyway. Like stuff comes from like almost the comedic guys
Yeah.
who end up breaking off into like writing and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
it's funny how I never, especially. I mean, I grew up loving Jim Carrey. Like Jim Carrey, when it comes to comedy, I mean, it's when I didn't like it when I was a kid.
I almost
and then
fought
when I
somebody
got,
for.
like 18, 19, I was just like, wow, this guy's actually really funny. And I actually started, once I started studying acting more, I realized how difficult what he does. Like, I mean, that guy's he's a beast.
Did you ever see the Netflix documentary where Jim Carrey like pretty
Yeah,
much embodies Andy Kaufman? It's Andy Kaufman,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Oh
so,
my.
so that's the method acting.
Incredible.
That's getting like deep into character.
And,
like,
and he
on
gets into a
set.
fight with Jerry the King Lawler, who is like, this guy's done, acting like his entire
Yeah.
life as a professional wrestler, and even he's getting under Jerry's skin. He's making Jerry break.
yeah,
like man,
yeah,
Jim.
it's tough.
Oh man, like Jim Carrey. Gotta love Jim. And I actually almost fought somebody long time ago for calling Cable Guy a bad movie. He let me sit there and talk about how funny Cable Guy was for like 5 minutes, and then he just cut me off. He was like, Cable Guy's fucking terrible. Jim Carrey sucks. And
Oh man, what do you say? No way, cable guy. Oh, that's a terror. Imagine having someone come over to you like that.
yeah, I was talking about how
Jeez.
great Jim Carrey is, how big Matthew Broderick was in the '90s and stuff like that, with Lion King and Godzilla and obviously Cable Guy. And all that stuff, man. I definitely appreciate good writing and good acting.
Yeah,
I don't
and you
have
can
I don't have like the skill for it at all.
Yeah.
But just like good rapping and stuff like that. Like I don't have a rapping bone in my freaking body, but I know good rap. Like I know like what's good stuff. Like like I always notice my list is a little different. Like my favorite rapper is obviously Childish Gambino and Andre 3000.
I mean, but they're great.
Yeah, I just don't get how people don't see what I see. Tretch from Naughty by Nature, I think he's and I think obviously Joyner and a lot of young guys come up right now.
Joyner's coming off right now, like unbelievable.
But I wish I had a musical bone in my body. Like I just have fighting and social skills. That's all I got. I wish I could play the piano and like stuff like that. I'm really good at dancing folklore. Snapping my fingers and dancing in parades.
I always say I think the only job, I mean, aside from like acting and writing, I think the only job better than as a creative job is being a musician. like being able to like perform for like 10,000, 20,000 people. My buddy Peter that I went to school with at Salem State, he dances for a club and like a world famous club in called the House of Yes in New York, and he just danced. They invited him to dance down at Bonnaroo, the music festival.
Oh, yeah.
And he got to dance and stuff in front of 10,000 people. I can't imagine that energy.
Remember Junior, old breakdancer Junior? Yeah, I actually went out when I went to Bamboozle. I went to Bamboozle to go see like Taking Back Sunday and Lil Wayne again. Like, that was a great music festival, and Junior ended up being in a breakdancing competition. I'm like, what the hell? What are the odds?
I know him.
That's all. Oh man, now again, I smoke way too much because I keep on forgetting like where I'm gonna go with that. So yeah, what's next on the old acting agenda?
So right now it's just producing. I mean, keep working on this film and stuff like that. But me and my buddy Jay that I was talking about before, we're waiting for a logo to be done and stuff like that. But I do want to launch an actual production company.
Now, you still looking for? Yes, I saw you looking for like two 12-year-olds,
yeah,
I believe.
two 12 to 14-year-olds. I'm actually meeting with one. A kid and his mom right after we're done with this.
That's awesome, man.
Just to talk, meet him and stuff like that. She said he's interested in stuff. I just want to make sure that he's right. They're tougher role. You know what I mean? The kids have to come off like they'll at any given time fight you, but at any given time also hug you. So it's a tough balance to blend. I want to make sure they have that nice friendship. So we're just gonna talk after this. And then just keep finding and fine-tuning the script I'm working on. I've never directed a film before. So, I mean, I'm great with working with, actors and finding, getting them where they need to be in terms of, like, what's the tone, what's happening in the scene and stuff like that. But I'm working with a DP, and a part of my job now is also to think of, like, camera angles. So where are we starting? How are we telling this story visually? What's going to progress this? What's pushing it forward?
Could you compare it to anything, the next film? Like, is there, like, a movie that you think that people that are watching, you know what I mean, could compare it to? If they like that movie, then they'll like this.
I was trying to think of that. It's almost like a Nightmare on Elm Street kind of meets, not Requiem for a Dream because that's so stylized and artistic in a sense. But it's got that feel to it. I want it's almost like a Nightmare on Elm Street meets like It.
So you're thinking like
it's got like that. I want to have that feeling of like kids riding through town, going somewhere they shouldn't be. You know what I mean?
Dark like Tim Burton, or
no, not that. No, not too.
But still more like on Wes Craven.
Yeah, definitely,
nice.
Definitely inspired. Even the DP who is doing the cinematography for the film actually said it had a Wes Craven feel, and I was like, I take that.
That's sick.
Thank you, because Nightmare on Elm Street is my favorite movie series of all time.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
This cool stuff, man. So
I fell in love with Freddy because my mom, when I was 4 years old, I used to run into her bedroom, and she had a new boyfriend at the time, and.
So now you want to get like a studio? Like, is that what you were saying? Or you want to get just like a production?
So we'll start with the production company and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then we'll see what we can do from that. I have, there's two kind of like web series kind of things we want to do. We want to have one, it's similar to this, called A Positive Mindset, where we talk to people about being positive and stuff like that, about like what's the mindset like, what pushes you forward. Right now we're thinking of mainly gearing it towards artists and stuff like that, so then they can perform on the show and whatnot. And then we have another segment that we actually have been working on for a little bit called That's Good News. And we want to have like a news segment that's dedicated to like good news and like really just being like a positive influence, because negativity is crazy right now.
Oh, man. I wish I had some sort of skill like that. Like
you do.
Again, this is a social skill. Like, people always came by my house. Like, I mean, it's nothing new. Like, it is everybody. If I could have a poll of like how many people in Florida have came by my house, I think it would be in like 4 touching 5 digits, man. Like, those days are always fun. So it's like I said, that was like like almost like the motivation behind it. It's like, man, I've always been good at like talking to people. I've always been good at just like being like people friends and just listening to them and like getting to know them and all that noise. And now that we're all grown, it's so fun to like talk about them times.
Yeah.
Talk about times before that when we like just met, and then see their progression. Like you know what I mean? Like I remember when you first started going to Salem for theater, and like that's what I said. I was like, oh, I didn't know Kyle was like into that. Like that's so cool. Like, you know what I mean? Because I appreciate like I the Book of Mormon is like one of my favorite like theater for it should be a lot of people's favorite because it's great stuff.
Great.
And again, like that's another writers I forgot to touch upon, Matt Stone and Trey Parker. Now I know they're just like a lot of people looking at us as South Park guys, but they're not. They are genius. They are so freaking smart.
Absolutely geniuses.
They are instant like lying to my funny bone. Like they get me every time. There's nothing that I don't like from them, and that was also an argument I had with them. So the same person that said they didn't like cable guys said they didn't like basketball.
That guy, whoever this is, doesn't know good things.
Like, have you even watched World Police? Have you even watched Team America?
They don't know good things.
This is great stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man, we're touching back up on the music now. I was just thinking about that. Like, that also must be nerve-wracking. It must be a great feeling. Like, I know you said you wanted to be, like, you would be a musician, but like I was talking about how I worked at Gillette, and I worked some cool shows like that. Like, Chris Martin must feel cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like playing for Coldplay and having great music. Like, you know what I mean? He has, like, I love Coldplay now. Like, not as much as I did when I was younger, but like now, I sucked in.
Yeah.
60,000 people sucked into them. Bracelets going, like, crazy show. People ask me to this day, like, what was your favorite thing working? I think it was Coldplay. And listen, I've worked, like, again, like, for Beyonce and Jay-Z and Motley Crue and, like, even Taylor. Well, Motley Crue is exactly what you think it is.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? Like, but a little different because, like, I worked for, like, One Direction and 5 Seconds of Summer. And then, like, the next weekend was Motley Crue. So the crowd was
completely, yeah, completely.
So it went from like 60 to 70,000 adolescents, like, you know, like a bunch of like 10 to like 15-year-old girls, the highest pitch of like screaming you could hear. Like, man, I must have had like 7 earplugs that day because like their sound was just too crazy, and they were just insane. Then the nuttiest thing was One Direction fans, insane.
Oh yeah. Boy band fans.
And then going to Motley Crue, like it was a little bit more like older people, but they had like, you know, their bikers and they're like, you know what I mean, like they're like, you know, little mop pits. It's like, this is a mosh pit with 40, 50-year-old people. This is insane. This is really happening.
Mosh pits are crazy, man.
And then Country Fest is just by far the worst thing. I tell you, like, if you guys don't know, well, I'll teach you something right now. When those staff are working Country Fest, they get a $2 incentive. Like, they get an extra $2.
Because
it's how hectic it is. A lot of people don't want to work. Anybody that's worked it before doesn't want to work it anymore because it's just not worth it.
No kidding, huh? I've always wanted to go to a country fest too, just to
it's a great time if you're in the crowd. I wouldn't want to work it though. Great time. The crowd always, like, I have fun with the crowd.
Yeah.
I'm not the strictest person at all. Like, ask anybody. When I was working at Gillette, even if you were random, like, people would come up to me with their ticket, and I'm like, listen, I'm not really here to like tell you where to sit. Just go. Like, you know what I mean? If you don't, I'll tell people some rules right now. They cannot kick you out of a stadium or any event for being in the wrong seat. They can only tell you to move. That's a little word of advice there for people, okay?
I always thought they could possibly say
they can't kick you out. You can move as close as you want, but when the people come to get a seat, you have to respectfully get up and leave.
Makes sense.
You know what I mean? But you could stay there for as long as you want, as long as the seat owners ain't there. That's the true rule.
Nice. That's good to know.
Also, they do not care if you're smoking marijuana in the crowd. You do not have to be that sneaky about it. So if you're smoking marijuana at an event, like, they don't really care too much, especially if it's an outdoor event.
Yeah.
You know, but they are looking for heavy drugs. Man, what else did I teach you about? Like, other than that, like, yeah, I mean, again, if you're for sporting events, when it's like the Patriots game and stuff like that, stick around. Like, you know, go to the end, ask the players for their gloves and stuff like that. They do give their equipment. They're actually cool guys.
I've actually never stayed to any event. Usually I'm out, and I think WrestleMania I was just at WrestleMania this past summer.
Sick.
Or whenever it was.
I turned that down, man. I should have went, man. To the New York show?
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Oh, man, it was crazy.
Oh, God.
Nuts. It was everything I thought it would be. When you go to a live show, the spectacle. Like,
it was cool to see them
large, like,
take it to the north, take a WrestleMania to the Northeast, like an outside event like that, because it gives us hope that maybe you can come to Gillette Stadium.
And so at least, and the weather held up and everything like that, so it was actually a perfect. I had a sweater on and stuff, so it was a perfect little night.
Long night though, I heard, right?
I didn't want it to end.
You were there all night though.
We actually got there at 3 o'clock, and we stayed until about 1 in the morning. So we did some walking around and stuff like that. But when we were lucky because where we were sitting like right here, and the commentator and interview booth was right behind us. So Shawn Michaels came over, Jerry Lawler came over, Booker T came over, and they were just right there getting interviewed. So I was like, this couldn't have been more perfect.
What was that Becky Lynch pop like?
So,
when Becky won, like,
it
did you feel
nuts.
it? Was it electric?
The Kofi pop too was crazy when he won.
Yeah.
And then I think my favorite
I
probably.
think a lot of people knew Kofi was gonna win, but we wanted to see it.
Yeah.
We don't. If he does it
see it.
until we see it, it's not true.
Yeah, the Becky Lynch pop. That was the Ronda Rousey fight, right?
The Ronda and Charlotte, yeah.
So
triple threat.
that one didn't get as big as a pop as it should have because of the way it ended.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't that the pin where we were like, did she just?
Oh,
get
it was a
pinned?
weird pin.
Yeah,
it was a weird cradle.
So the crowd was kind of like a little stunned for a second.
That's
like,
right.
Did that
That's
just
right.
happen? Did that really? But I think my favorite part of that night was Kurt Angle. Everyone just singing "You Suck" as he was doing his farewell.
Man. Kurt, yeah. Speaking of Kurt Angle, like a lot of people don't know, he was actually a part of the Foxcatcher team. And if you don't know, do you know? Are you all right?
Yeah.
So yeah, like
That's another Steve
you know,
Carell,
speaking
right?
of Steve Carell, man, it was his Oscar-nominated performance. Did he win for that?
I don't think he did. No.
And that was actually a tough movie class right there. I remember that year there was some bangers came out in that class. That was like The Martian and Manchester by the Sea.
I still have yet to watch.
I have
that
yet to
one.
see it either, but apparently it won a lot.
Yeah,
Moonlight,
yeah.
it was
Moonlight,
that was
Moonlight
from
was
like
good.
all that
Yeah.
noise. But the Foxcatcher, yeah, a lot of people don't know. It's Kurt Angle actually trained with a team Foxcatcher, and yeah, if you guys haven't watched that movie yet, it's on Netflix.
It's great.
It's really, really, really good. And the documentary itself is pretty good. John DuPont and all the Pennsylvania guys. I mean, if you appreciate, I'm sure a lot of wrestling guys have seen that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if you like cool wrestling story, that's a great just story altogether.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, for sure.
Guy Mark Schultz ends up fighting in the UFC. Shannon Tatum ends up playing Mark
Yep.
Schultz, and Mark Ruffalo,
Yeah.
the great Mark Ruffalo plays Dave Schultz.
Yep.
Wow, I can't believe I remember that. I actually have a pretty decent memory. That's a good movie. But yeah, I appreciate good acting, man. Like
Yeah,
I appreciate good writing,
good
and,
acting.
and a lot of people probably wouldn't watch a movie like that. A lot of people want to watch a lot of movies. Like, what's like your favorite, most underrated movie that people need to watch?
Oh man.
Like when people ask me like, "Hey, Johnny, can you recommend?" I always like go to Green Street Hooligans, just because it's like, only because it's like a lot of people haven't seen it. Oopsie. Yeah, a lot of people haven't seen it, so I always recommend them to Green Street Hooligans, like because it's Charlie Hunnam's like one of his first stuff, and
he's great in
it has like a
that.
Fall River like fight vibe to it if you grew up in that type of like environment.
Yeah, no, I probably.
Have you seen it?
Requiem for, yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, I
Did you like
probably
it?
do. Yeah, I did. Yeah,
It's a good little soccer
but I
movie.
probably do always recommend Requiem for a Dream for a reason.
Recommend them for.
That's the Darren Aronofsky one with one of the Wayans brothers, and it's all about the kids getting into drugs, and the mom has like the psychedelic like trips because she starts taking like a
Now, is that
antidepressant
because-
for like weight loss and all this stuff. It's a crazy film.
Jeez, yeah, they like the deep ones, man. Like it's just really
it's
like
raw, man.
Yeah.
This one doesn't end on like a positive note. I mean, it kind of. So the first time I ever watched that movie, I think I had just gotten done hanging out with Dave and all them. I mean, I think it was seniors in high school. And we just smoked and stuff like that. And I went back home and I was kind of laying in my bed, and I was just like, oh, I got this movie I've been wanting to watch, and I put it in, and it's all about how bad your life can become fucked up from drugs. And I
Yeah.
just sat there like, is this where I'm heading? This is where I'm going. Like, dude, it completely messed me up for a little bit.
and that was
for
when you
sure.
were younger, right? So
I was 16, 17, yeah, so senior year, so 17.
I just I don't know if it was my brothers or like just because I listened to the advertisements in school to just say no, but like I was around it my entire life. It was really easy to say no and keep friends. Like I don't know why. Like how
Yeah, I said no for a little bit, but like I said, I was 11 the first time.
you smoke pot, right?
Yeah. And I was with Zach and James.
Yo, what up, James? Zach Moore, what up,
Yeah, I
guys?
used to hang around with those knuckleheads all the time. And then eventually I was just like, you know what? Maybe I'll try it. You know, I'll try it. And it was right before we went to a feast.
Well, it's the thing, I do sit here and say, like, you know, I'm a late bloomer. I didn't start smoking. Of course, I tried it. Smoked like when Norbert Rocha, Kevin Souza, those guys were trouble. But like, you know, cool friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Bad influences though. Like, you know what I mean? But like again, like it wasn't always like bad times. We had some great times. Like they are funny guys. But that's the first time I smoked weed was them. I don't think I ever like smoked with my brothers until I turned like 25. Yeah, it was just because then like my older brothers. It's not like my brother Andrew where like we caused trouble together.
Yeah.
I couldn't cause trouble with my brothers because they had putting me in line. They were all old, so they were good. My brothers were great influence as much as people probably wouldn't believe that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They were really good influences. They helped mold me into the person I am today.
No, it's great.
So you almost need that, like, you know what I mean. Shout out to Andrew Madunka, like, you know what I mean. I tell Andrew all the time, like, hey, you know, don't dwell on your bad times because you know you got a little brother that you know you can guide You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And have him learn off you.
No, it's good
Not
to,
just
good
what
to
you
see
learned
doing
off
good right
yourself, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, make sure, like, other people can learn off you. Just, like, it's obviously always passing the word and doing all that.
Andrew was I mean, I started hanging around with Andrew when he started hanging around with us, and that's when we all started getting into
Yeah,
trouble.
that was another thing. That when I remember Andrew, you know, in Durfee, like, he was, like, such a fun basketball player. Next thing I know, we're at
he's a
Kennedy
good
Park.
baller,
It's
man.
like, is that Andrew Madunka, the kid that, you know, crosses up freaking Bobby Bailey as much as he probably wouldn't admit it?
Yeah, some
Like,
good ball handling.
yeah,
I used to
Andrew
play,
was
I hated
great.
playing against him when we played at Pulaski.
I'm trying to get him on the Titans right now. They're looking for a kicker, and I've been telling
Oh,
Andrew, like, I
really?
think he would be a
Yeah.
perfect kicker for the Titans, so he needs to go work on that. Have a nice little fun hobby to do.
Yeah.
But he's also got a kid that he's raising right now, too,
Yep.
so shout out to Madunka for doing the right thing. What have we been out for? We're good. I have no idea.
About an
but
hour
we'll
or
be
so.
right.
It's already
Really?
3. Yeah.
Oh, man. We're still chatting it up, man. It'll get shorter when I edit all the times. I'm like, ugh.
So do you sometimes have some long ones and you're like, all right, this is 2 hours. The podcast can't be 2 hours.
I've had some long ones. What was it? Wasn't it the Danny? No, that one where Albert ran long.
Mm-hmm.
We actually had to chop that down a few times.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think the longest one I listened to was an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, hour and 5.
Hour
or
and
something.
change, but
Yeah,
like the one with Albert, I had to cut it down a lot because we were talking like, and he's got to come back. Same thing with Justin Reese. He's gonna come back too right before the Titans kick off. Yeah, this has been like really fun, man. I got a Scotty coming by Monday. Scotty Maderas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm hoping like because I know you. And Scotty's probably like the first person that's gonna come on that I didn't really grow up with.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean, like that. But he's been such an influence to the whole like my YouTube channel. Like, and I'm gonna speak on that next week with him, and it's gonna be fun. But that's what I want like people like you and all my friends that are out doing stuff. Come on, so like that way other people can reach out to me
Yeah.
that are doing stuff. Like shout out to Jorgen Castro for getting his 4-fight contract with UFC.
Yeah, it's
And,
great.
Yeah, I can go on, and it's, obviously I'm not just looking for you know actors, you know what I mean, and film directors and fighters. You know what I mean? But if you're owning a business, man, and you know what I mean, you want to get it out there, you can always reach out to me.
Let's
Yeah.
talk about it. It's and you know what? This is great too. It's like it's good to see that when you start seeing people in your own city doing things, you're like, damn, it can be done. It can be done. Let's do it. Let's.
I want this to be a Fall River show.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make this like, you know what I mean, like out there like that. I want a Joe Rogan experience, but Fall River experiment where it's pretty much, that's what we all are. We're products of this city. Like, you know what I mean? And I just want everybody from the city to watch this so we can all support each other and push it when the time comes to it and the time needs it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everybody needs a following and
Yeah.
everybody needs support. Everybody, like, you know what I mean, could use that motivation and like, you know, just that love. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We shouldn't have to wait for people to, you know what I mean, make
No.
it big to be like that.
And and you got
Like I was a huge fan of Chris Herron. Like I had his book
Yeah.
before the ESPN documentary. You know what I mean?
That's a great documentary.
Like, you know, I grew up at Val's gym where his jersey hung above the basketball court forever until the day it closed. Like, you know what I mean? Chris Herron was a specific person, I guess, we would say in my life. Like, I've always known of Chris and all that noise. You know what I mean? But it's almost like Game of Thrones getting big when Chris got into the documentary. It's like, this ain't as fun anymore. It's not as fun being because everybody
everyone that's
like.
working on my film has to watch Unguardable.
But let's not do that. Like, you know, let's not wait. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? For somebody to get on ESPN. Like, you know what I mean? Let's not wait for Kyle to be on that Oscar stage and being like, hey, look at this Fall River guy winning an Oscar. No, he's gonna win his Oscar. We know that. Let's support him now. Let's get his name out there now.
I was just talking about that with my buddy Jay the other day, and I think it's social media has a big influence because
course,
now you have
yes.
these influencers who haven't really done much. They just somehow are
they say
able
the
to
same
influence.
thing, like, oh, I don't like positive vibes. It's all the same shit. I spread positive vibes, and then they're just like I'm just going off of the Fire Festival documentary.
Oh, that's documentary.
You know what I mean? With all what the influencers coming on and how they all had the same thing to say. Like, yeah, you know, my page and like my brand is all about spreading positivity. Like, who the fuck do you hang out with where like anything else is like, why do you hang out with people who spread negativity?
Yeah.
Like, of course you should be around people. Of course that's what your brand should be. Like, you know what I mean? If you're reaching out to that. Influencers always like confuse me. I understand like the power of the platform.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm trying to say? So I get that.
Well, that's the misconception. As a lot of people will start following people who are already so successful, so people don't realize, like, they just think, like, one day you're going to wake up and all of a sudden you're a movie star. It's just like, nah, I mean, it happens to, like, certain people. Like, Zac Efron, that guy got lucky. Like, he literally was in, I think, 1 or 2 things.
It helps being
got
good
cast in
looking.
High School Musical, though.
It helps being good looking, though. Zach. I always call him the the Uncle Jesse, the young Uncle Jesse, man, John Stamos over
Did you
there.
see, did you see his new film?
Which one?
The
The Ted Bundy? Yes, I
Yeah.
did. He was getting great.
Yeah, I
He,
thought so
he
too.
was so freaking good, man.
Yep.
There's another like comedic actor who people don't respect how good he is Sacha Baron Cohen.
Oh, that's so
He's
good.
incredible, and people
incredible.
look at him like he's just Borat. Like,
Yeah,
man, you
no.
don't fucking know anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this guy is great.
Yeah.
I love a range. I guess that's
Yeah,
what you
yeah.
could say. It's like, man, I can't sit there and say I'm so educated in like film and like, you know, and like the top 10 like directors
Who is
of
your
all time.
favorite actor?
My favorite actor? I mean, it's got to be from Daniel Day-Lewis. Like, I don't want to be cheesy and say, you know what I mean?
Mine's
Like
Tom Hanks.
Yeah, so I don't want to do that. Like, but I love Daniel Day-Lewis.
That guy's crazy.
Man, let me try to think of like just like a good actor. Like the kids on Stranger Things are good. I like Finn Wolfhard. Like, you know what I mean? He's on a good come up. But there's a lot of good kids. The kid that played in mid-90s with Jonah Hill.
Yeah.
There's a great one. I think the kid that plays Joker in Gotham and the kid that plays Batman in Gotham are
Yep.
good. I wish I could put I also like Ben McKenzie. I think it's crazy. He came from I think One Tree Hill
Yeah.
to being like a great. But that's just me going on to like the smaller like things. I don't want to go into like how much, like I was talking the other day to somebody about Jordan Peele.
Yeah, yeah.
And how much everybody loves him now. And it's like, man, I understood his geniusness like before, like, you know, I don't just know him from The Valet. You know what I'm trying to say with Keegan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's so much great material, not the stupid like football rundown that they do. Like Jordan Peele is a genius. He has some great work out there that you got to go in there and check it out. So. Yeah, and I hate to say like because obviously Us was a great movie and Get Out was a great movie. I love them both. I love the ending of it. I love the theories of it. Like, have you seen it yet?
So I haven't seen Us yet.
All right, so I don't want to ruin Us. It's a good one. The ending is great. It's a twist ending, so I just put that.
Okay.
You obviously know that,
Yeah,
that it's
okay.
coming. You know what I mean? So it's no spoiler alert there. So the movie's great. Pay attention. The ending's fucking great too. Just like Get Out, like, you know, if you watch Get Out, right?
Yeah,
I
Get
thought that
Out.
was fucking awesome.
I still think it's more of a psychological thriller, not a horror, but I mean,
Yeah, they said that about Us. They're like, it's the best horror movie.
is
like,
it more of a psychological
it's
thriller?
it's a psychological. It's not horror. It's not a horror at all. Like I'm sitting there, like let's give that title back to Rob Zombie.
Yeah,
like,
horror. You know, horror.
You know what I mean? Like
horror,
Rob Zombie
yeah.
has that. Let's hit the brakes on saying Us is like the best horror movie because it's not. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
And it's its own thing. Like it's a
Yeah.
Jordan Peele project,
Yeah.
if you would. Like, you know what I mean? Great mind over there. But what I call it horror now. It's Batman Gotham. The Gotham series is more dark and scary than Us, in my personal opinion. You know what I mean? If you guys ever watched that, you know what I'm talking about. But there's, that's me trying to just brush up on some of the actors that I like that because I don't want to get all, you know, Daniel Day-Lewis and
Daniel Day-Lewis is great for. He's probably gonna go down as literally one of the best
Jeff
actors.
Bridges.
I mean, you guys crazy.
I love Jeff Bridges. Like I love Jeff Bridges and not Jeff Bridges, is it Jeff Bridges? Plays Big Daddy in Django.
Yeah, it's Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, Jeff Bridges. Oh my God, I love him in Django, dude. I don't want to get too many of his lines. That would be bad.
Yeah, no,
But yeah, like those guys, and obviously, like I said, like anybody from SNL. So I love Andy Samberg. I think Andy Samberg is a lot funnier than what people think. I think John Mulaney is probably top of the pyramid right now for like comedic writers, and like, you know, I think Nick Kroll is funny. I think again, I said Bill Hader. I thought Seth Meyers was a great writer. He's doing this obviously talk show thing now. Pretty much, yeah. Like anybody that comes out of Saturday Night Live, they're all just great. Chris Rock's funny. Adam Sandler, obviously, he has his hits and misses. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
he's
Adam's,
gonna be a classic.
that's what I'm saying. We grew up on Adam Sandler, so we're gonna support him to the
Yeah,
end.
for sure. My mom was just watching Grown Ups before I left our house.
Yeah, like, and that's man, makes me think of Chris Farley. Every time Grown Ups is hard for me because that's what I think of. It's like, man, like this movie wasn't meant for Kevin James to be in. This movie is meant for that's Chris Farley's role, and which is like again to go right back to your movie. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like you could use that as like you know what I mean? Like I don't know if an intro, like again, I don't know how you're presenting your movie. You know what I mean? But just thinking about Chris, like, you know what I mean, and
Yeah,
the potential
no,
he
that's-
had,
that's-
and like what addiction does.
It's yeah, no, that my movie is tapping into like the real demonizing voices, because everyone you talk to, like, you know, I'm 6 months sober of alcohol. I mean, 6 years, almost 6 years sober from alcohol.
That's great.
But it's not
Congratulations.
near, thank you. It's not near like as when you hear stories from people from like opioid addictions,
Yeah.
and serious alcoholics, and people like who really have like those voices. And every time I talk to someone about it, they'd always be like, you better, like, the voices, like, they're strong, like, you gotta remember, like, it's always just like, so that ghost in the film is literally a representation of those voices. So I want to
great.
like really, and I'm trying to drive what it does to families, the relationships, how to listen. I'm trying. It's
Is
tough.
there a
to fit
happy
in 20
ending?
pages. It's an uplifting ending.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to give away too many spoilers and stuff like that.
I mean, 'cause
but I
I
actually did just come up with a new ending like 2 days
Real-
ago.
Yeah, one of the biggest things that I try to tell people who are like getting clean and stuff like that, like, you have no idea the potential you have.
Yeah.
You know, I had a buddy who I would definitely not say his name, but he was spending like $300 a day on oxys.
That's a lot.
This
Damn.
man now has like like doing well is an understatement.
Yeah. That's
Like, you know what I'm
good
trying
for
to
him.
say, and
Yeah.
he actually did it without rehab or anything. He stopped cold turkey.
That's tough.
And yeah, and I don't have his permission to really like talk about
No,
it. Like,
of
you know what I
course.
mean? His like, you know what I mean, I'm sure if I asked him, he would say yeah. But until then, I'll just
Yeah,
leave it
yeah.
like that. Like how well he's doing, and those stories. It's that's why I was trying to ask him, like, does it have a happy ending?
Yeah. So it
Like,
has,
but no spoilers.
No,
though.
without any spoilers. So that you always have to think about like the final image and stuff like that, of like what's the final thing the audience is seeing. And so I just added a new final image, literally like 2 or 3 days ago. I was rereading. I was like, this is sitting with me wrong. I was like, this isn't working for me.
Some of it, yeah,
And
that
I thought,
happens.
And I thought
That
about
happens.
it, and I was like, I think I know exactly what I need. And it ends now with you feeling like you could do it, but you gotta keep fighting.
Can we have some mid-credit and like scenes? Like, you can get all Avengers on us and put
Yeah.
like mid-credit. Get a little teaser for the next one.
Yeah, yeah.
Are you gonna have like a not a universe, but I would say like are your movies gonna connect? Like, do you plan on not so
No.
much making a sequel, but maybe like not a spin-off either, but
My goal with this is to get it into festivals, since it's only 20 minutes long, and hopefully it can be produced into a feature length. I crammed so much into 20 pages that like I wish I could expand upon that story and that story.
I
and really
love
see.
indie movie festivals.
And this is
Sundance, like all that stuff. Toronto, I think Sundance is in Toronto actually. Yeah, those things are great. A lot of great movies come from that.
So, almost, I didn't realize how many actual great
A
movies
lot, very
come
lot.
from independent festivals and stuff like that. But
Mid
that's-
'90s came from independent, I believe.
Yeah. That one's a festival. It's crazy how many good movies, and you're like, oh, no kidding. But yeah, that's the goal, because there's so much to tackle. But like, I don't know if there'll be a sequel to this one or anything like that. I kind of jump around too. If I have I just wrote a zombie apocalypse film. I just finished it maybe like 2 months ago.
The zombie following is huge. Like, people love that stuff.
Yeah, it's a crazy concept. I was sitting there one day, and I was asking my buddy, I was like, hey, where are all the old people during like a zombie apocalypse? And then I was thinking about like, and I talked to like Little John, who's actually like, although he's an HVAC plumber guy, he's probably got one of the biggest imaginations of all my friends. So we went and he started like throwing some ideas, and we bounced back and forth.
I'm so happy he grew. You got like he had his growth
Yeah.
sprout. Shout out to John.
Yeah, so I wrote a crazy zombie apocalypse movie. It's a
I wish I was,
group of
like-
senior citizen war veterans.
Again, I wish I was creative like that. Like, I can't. I could never like write about a zombie apocalypse with war veterans or anything, even with those subjects. Even if it's just a zombie apocalypse or a movie with war veterans, I could always sit there and be like, man, like a movie needs to be done about like 2 friends, 3 friends, you know, the whole walking around, and almost like pretty much like a forever story of like somebody, you know, still being into that like lifestyle of like the streets and stuff like that, and watching his friend go and how their worlds like collide again down the line. I guess if I was a writer, I would try to go for that, because that's all I know.
Yeah, they do say all the time, write what
So
you
when
know
you-
and
yeah,
stuff like that,
mhm.
write what you know. But with certain movies, I mean, I just don't know. Like, as a human being, I can process what it might be like for a group of senior citizens to want to help someone. Like, I mean, everyone wants to help someone, so
course.
you know? But a lot of, I do want to focus a lot on, like, the Fall River stories, the stuff that needs to be, you know.
One thing I always say about Forever, man, everybody, we're born into an obstacle already.
Yeah.
Like, we already have challenges, if you would, as soon as we
Yeah.
grew, because we're born in Forever. So you
Yeah,
already
yeah.
have, like, you're already fighting. Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no, it's a. I mean, the first 12 years of my life are rough. You know what I mean? I grew up in the projects. The housing complex on 4th Street.
And you're never too old.
Yeah, never.
Okay, you're never too old. I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're 40, 30, anything like that. You know what I mean? Like, starting a new path is always like I didn't know I was gonna I always knew I was gonna be a bartender. I absolutely love being a bartender.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just became a bartender, and in the beginning of the year I didn't think I was gonna be it. I saw a little ad, and I thought about it, and then almost around the same time, like people were telling me that I would be really good at it, and I was like, oh, I should try it out. And
You literally, a bartender.
I
I
love
hear
it.
from everyone who's bartending, like you better be able to talk to people. And
Yeah.
so like what like
it works. Yeah, it's awesome. I love it, man. Like, and then and then the end of the night comes, and you're like, what the? This is a lot of money. I made this.
There's the tips and stuff
Yeah,
too.
the boss, Joe's happy with you, and the customers are happy, and you're happy because you made this money. You're like, dude, this is cool, man. All I did was give people drinks and talk to them.
Yeah, no, it's not a bad gig at all.
Oh, it's getting hot up in here, though. We'll probably wrap this short. I think Shane's hitting me up. Like, I'm coming by.
Hopefully he gets here soon. I gotta meet this lady actually really soon.
Oh, yeah, he's taking too long. Sorry, Shane. I know Shane's going to have his own time.
He
This
didn't
is
even
my
take a
time
car.
with you.
He's pedaling over on a skateboard. Come on, man.
Okay. This is my time with you, Kyle. Shane's going to have his time.
Yeah, no. He talked about his son being interested in the film.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, yeah, tell him to send me a message and.
Shane, he's in that father world right now, so I'm sure he knows.
Well, he also
some
wants to.
people.
He also reached out to me and stuff like that too. So I told him that
He's got-
one
he-
of the scenes and stuff like that I want him to come into the.
I'm
the
sure
film.
Shane's story could definitely inspire one of your buddies, like one of your actors, man.
Yeah.
A lot of people could, like, again, you said it yourself. A lot of your actors could be inspired by anybody in Florida, but just by the stories. Again, we were born with obstacles, so like any of us, man. Like again, man, don't. Keep them casting calls on your pages, man. Like answering them. You never know what people are looking for.
Always.
But if you know anybody that's looking for a Mexican gangster, hit me up. I will be perfect for that. I watch too much, gangster movies to not be able to play a vato. I'm a vato. I'm gonna put it up. I'm a vato like every year for Halloween.
That's his go-to costume.
It is. It's just
Mine was Danny from Greece for the longest time because it was just so simple to throw on jeans, a white tee, and a leather jacket.
Oh, it's not because I'm bald, it should be a lot easier. I've never really felt comfortable in wigs and stuff like that. So I pretty much have like the Mexican vato, a Taliban, or Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel.
Those are like my only options for, you know what I mean? But now my fighting skills are pretty good, so I could play Jason Statham too,
Stepping up.
I don't have range, but I should have range. I wish I did. Again, I respect like good music and good acting so much. I wish I was a good musician and a good actor.
Yeah,
but it's not like it's not that it's not easy, but being creative is.
Yeah, it's holding the imagination. We're all born with it. That's what a lot of my acting classes are all about. How do you tap back into being a child?
Now, do you plan on like moving to Cali or?
Yeah, so it's actually within the year.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
So we were supposed to move this September, but I booked a web series and a play.
Coming.
So because of that, I postponed it and stuff like that. It should be January, but definitely no later than June. So within the year.
That's awesome, man.
What's up, brother?
What's up, man? I'm good. You?
Good, man.
And Shane is here.
Hello, everybody.
Whatever. Come on now. We're probably gonna wrap it up in a little bit, but got some serious up to Shane.
Yeah, let me just send a message to this lady quick, letting her know I'll be a little bit late.
Bum, bum, bum. Oh, you don't have to be late. Again, Shane's here. Come hang out. You wanted to say what's up to you. We're going to wrap this up and you guys can finish your conversations. But it is always fun to... Wow, did I hit this too? But again, man, guys, make sure you give Kyle a follow. All that good noise. You know what I mean? You're going to... Not just watching his progression, you can see his come up.
Yeah.
I mean, your old Durfee days and all that fun stuff. And again, guys, don't be waiting for people to walk across that Oscar stage. Support them now.
I appreciate that's so big.
Well, like it's gonna be there. Like, you know what I mean? I pretty much, yeah. Keep working, doing your thing. I'm excited. Even a Sundance festival is almost as, you know what I mean, award or, you know what I mean,
it's
anything
all
like that.
success.
That's
this short film to some people, like if you've never, it's always like if you've never really done anything, then you might be like, oh, it's just, but I mean, it's a short film. It's a step. It's a step. So it's.
I do plan on, like I said again, I do plan on getting into that MMA cage. It's gonna happen. Like as long as that's the thing, cause like it's stuff. It's one of those things about like not caring about failing or losing. Like you know what I mean, like you grow up in Fall River, like it's almost like you shouldn't have to ever worry about that, man, because you could be in a way worse position.
Yeah, oh,
So
for sure.
I'm gonna get in there. I want to do it before you move out to Cali. Try to do
Yeah.
as much as I can. Go hook up with Ben, because that's the only person I work with. Is Ben Pitsley and the guys down at Pro Fitness, maybe some regiment guys. Go see Dan
Yeah,
LePage
yeah,
like the old times. Now you worked with Dan, right?
No, I never worked with Dan.
I was saying the same thing. I do. Towards our like kind of like 3-4 year gap in Durfee where we were in there, because you were just a year below me, right?
I graduated 2006, so.
All right, so same class actually.
You
So
too.
yeah, our what's it called? We didn't really get Dan LePage. Dan was
Yeah,
doing his
yeah.
college thing. But man, we missed out on some good wrestling, man. 'Cause
Yeah,
he
hear good
beat my
things.
ass, man. When I go to regiment, he's good. He tests your stuff. Especially me, it was dumb for me. I didn't like do any like grappling for like a year or two, and then I went to go see LePage, and he beat my ass.
Oh, I can imagine.
It's good, bro. Let's wrap this up, Kyle. Go let you go meet up with that woman.
Sounds
and
good, yeah,
go.
yeah.
He's gonna go do some auditions. He's gonna do a casting call, if you would.
Yeah, a little casting interview.
It's
Yeah.
great. I wish I had hair because I have a child face. I think I could play a 13-year-old. All right, thank you everybody for tuning in. See you next week.
You know what's good forever. Let me talk. What I'm puffing on, yeah, I got that low screen. Twisting up a L, that's a 508 smoke screen. Tag it twice, then I pass it to the whole team. Pimp until I knock out, and then I have some dope dreams. So mean, got me tweaking off a hit a reaper. And fuck the police, now it's just a misdemeanor. That loud got me on lean like I'm sniffing ether. Every time I roll up, I'm feeling like that Wiz Khalifa. Yeah, that Mary J is like some Novocaine, only that